What's going on, guys? I'm SimpleSimon. I'm your comic book noob. Welcome to the NOOB Rebirth. I'm here in the big city bunker with my boy Mark.
Is that what we're calling it now, the bunker?
Well, I don't know, man. What do you say? Because firstly, you were like, what was the first one you wanted? The big city shed or something?
The shed, I like the shed, because it just rolls off the tongue.
And then in the video, you're like, you know what, no, I'm pretty sure I like bunker, And then last week, I was like, bunker, and you're like, oh, we're going to call it the bunker? Oh, I was like, what do you want to call it, mate? I've already put it in my Google Maps as Big City Bunker.
I still call it the shop.
The shop, it's not a shop, it's a bunker.
It's a shop, man. It's still a shop.
The big city garage.
Oh, no.
All right, so, say hi, Mark.
Oh, hi Mark.
So today, I figured we'd talk about a certain genre of book. We're getting back into the comic book talk. You know, I know
comic book talk.
They don't get as much views as, you know. We've done horror before. I thought today we might tackle sci-fi.
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 And apparently I'm carrying it.
Yeah, because
he has no clue. He's still a noob.
Not prepared guy.
Not prepared guy, as usual. Hashtag as usual.
Let's do this. Just a quick shout out to my minions. Your support is greatly appreciated. Channel membership is now available. To find out more, hit the join button to find out about perks and exclusive videos and content. But always remember, your membership is not required. The best way to support the channel is by liking and commenting on all the videos. The nomination round has begun for this year's Comic Book Community Awards. Head to cbcawards.org to vote for your favourite comic book YouTube channels across a number of different categories and show your love and support for the comic book YouTube community. Nomination voting ends August 10th. One of my favourite genres in movies lately, I would say, since you showed me your Aliens Nerf gun, is sci-fi. I really dig sci-fi. Like every time I watch a sci-fi movie these days, I absolutely love it. And it was a genre in movies anyway that I didn't really pay a lot of attention to, I guess, throughout my life. You know, I always liked it, but it wasn't a genre that I really would like, oh, let's watch a sci-fi film. But as far as comic books, it's something that I don't really think about. So I figured I'd speak to you about what are some of the more well-known and better sci-fi titles in comic books.
Oh, there's heaps, man. And you know, Image lead the way in that. Absolutely. There's the franchise sci-fi, you know, like Star Wars,
like the IP
Star
stuff,
Trek, the IP stuff.
Aliens, Predator,
yeah, of course. You know, Aliens could be, you know, alien sci-fi horror, you know, cross genre, but you know, original stuff, you know, Image pretty much lead the way. You know, there's not much in Marvel or DC really, but you know, you got stuff like, you know, Descender, which is a classic. Jeff Lemire's Descender, which apparently is Lee's favourite creator.
Lee from White Comics.
Yeah, Lee from White Comics. Wow, apparently it's his favourite creator.
Did you know he interviewed Jeff Lemire?
No, yeah, I did actually. I actually watched that. That was pretty good.
Very cool. Is it not a genre that you have dived into much?
Yeah,
comic books?
Yeah, absolutely. I have and I haven't. Like, it depends who's writing it. Depends if I'm interested in the story. You know, Rick Remender does a lot. Mark Millar does a lot. But yeah, it's definitely a genre that, alongside horror, is very, very big in Image, and you know, crime as well. But yeah, sci-fi is massive. There's
a lot of titles, I guess, that I haven't read that I want to. One of them is, I think it's called Not All Robots. It's on AWA. I recently bought the trade paperback for it, but I haven't read it yet. But that's one I heard good things about.
I'm surprised you haven't read it yet.
You know what's funny?
Funny.
I actually have the first issue, but and I started to read it one night, but it was very wordy, and 2 pages in, I was like, I'm not in the mood for a wordy book.
Too wordy. Oh man.
Mate, old comic
He's a visual guy. He's a visual guy.
Yeah. You know that Tom King issue? No words? Perfect. It still took me 5 minutes to get through. Would you say there's like one title in particular that would be your go-to if someone was like, hey man, I like sci-fi? Because, you know, Mark does the thing for new customers, you know, what are you into? If someone said sci-fi, I mean, what are your go-to books? Obviously, like you said, Descender.
Descender, definitely.
Ascender, is this related
it's a sequel,
to that?
Yeah, it's a sequel.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, Descender, definitely.
What's it about?
It's about briefly, yeah. It's about a future where robots have been outlawed and shut down and hunted and stuff, and a robot wakes up in the future, in this future, and he starts getting chased and hunted for various reasons. Basically, the robot's a child, like in the sense of the word. The way he looks.
Sounds like the creator.
Yeah, correct. And when I saw the creator was, he was the one to save the world, which Descender's not. But yeah, definitely Descender's one that I would always recommend.
The way Mark categorizes his books, he doesn't do it by publisher or anything, he does it by genre.
Correct.
So did you have a sci-fi specific section?
Yeah, absolutely. 7 to Eternity would be another one. A Rick Remender book.
Okay.
Black Science is another one, which is another Rick Remender book. They're the classics. I would recommend always the classics, not the new stuff. Not because it's not good, but because it hasn't got the notoriety on the new stuff. Because it's new, so it hasn't been around for that long. But the older stuff, yeah, people talk about how good it is. Saga's another one. It really depends. That you're more of a sci-fi.
Saga, you would count as.
It's more of a sci-fi fantasy.
Yeah.
Romance. Yeah, it's like crosses 3 genres. That's why it's so popular.
That's one I need to really. I keep telling Sarah that I don't want to read her trades.
Yeah, and that's only Image, but there's the Vertigo stuff from DC, that imprint that DC released in the 90s, where Sandman. Was called fantasy, not sci-fi, I suppose.
What's that one?
That's more dystopian.
Okay.
Why the Last Man?
Is that not sci-fi?
Nah, it's more the what? Nah, it's more a dystopian.
What's the difference?
Dystopian is like futuristic.
Yeah. Does that not count as a sci-fi?
No.
Okay.
No. It's science fiction. So think about it. It's got to do with science, but it's not real, so it's fiction. And that something dystopian, like, whereas, Walking Dead would be classed as dystopian horror, because it's futuristic and something, it's a dystopian future.
What happens if a story was set in the future and the future was very advanced and stuff? Wouldn't that be counted as a sci-fi?
Yeah, sci-fi utopian sort of future thing. Yeah, Tokyo Ghost is like that, right? It's like a future, again, another Rick Remender book.
Tokyo Ghost, that sounds cool.
Tokyo Ghost, so it's about a future where there's technology has been outlawed, and there are these rebels that want to bring technology back. It's pretty good.
Is I don't know anything about the story, but is Sex Criminals, is that a sci-fi?
Oh, yeah, you'd probably call that a sci-fi, yeah, definitely. Do you know what that's about?
I feel like you've told me, but remind me.
There's a girl in it, and when she orgasms, she stops time.
Oh.
She gets together with a guy, and they find out that he can do that too. And so then they start robbing banks, as you do.
By having sex.
By stopping time and having sex. That's why they call it sex criminals. But and then eventually they steal someone's money that they shouldn't have.
What if he wasn't good in bed? Like, she'd be like, you can't make me stop time.
I don't know, mate. She would just push him to the curb. Maybe she would make herself climax. I don't know.
Oh yeah, that could work. Obviously, you've read a lot of the IP stuff.
Yeah, Star Wars and Star Trek as well. I've read some Star Trek.
It's really weird. Even Star Wars, to me, I don't think of that as science fiction.
Oh, I do, yeah, absolutely.
It's weird. It's just something that. I guess it's a sci-fi fantasy, right?
Yeah, it crosses a lot of multiple genres. That absolutely. The reason sci-fi is very popular is it's because it crosses a lot of genres, and it opens up, I suppose, imagination of the writer and the artist to go wherever they want to go in a story. They're not constricted by what we call normal environment. Like, if they say, for instance, Criminal, by Ed Brubaker. That's a crime drama, right? But they're restricted by the laws of Earth, of us, because it's set in real time. So when you write a sci-fi book, you're basically, what about this or what about that? Everyone tries their hand at doing sci-fi. They've always got stories they get inspired by, or they've got in a back burner. And then when they have their opportunity, they put them out there. Mark Miller did a great sci-fi book called Reborn, and it's all about the afterlife and how it's like a fantasy world. So it crosses sci-fi, fantasy. It's a really good book, and the art is done by Capullo. It's a beautiful book, beautiful just for the art.
I'm just trying to think, I can't even think off the top of my head, because obviously I would have read sci-fi titles before. Is there anything current that you can think of that's a popular sci-fi title?
What would you call it?
Red Light, that came out recently.
Yeah, Red Light, yeah. What would you call Feral? Do you call that sci-fi?
I haven't read it.
Really?
I'm waiting for it all to come out.
Oh my God! So that is such a typical comic book reader excuse.
I have been.
See, my excuse is I read everything in order of release. That's my excuse.
Yeah, but
so I'm behind.
I much prefer what I'm doing. So lately, when I have been reading,
everyone's different.
I've got 5 issues that I can catch. So, for example, I read all 4 Hack Slash issues in the one night.
And
so
how would you find that?
I thought it was great.
That's a crime book.
It was.
Would you call that a crime book?
Hack Slash?
Yeah.
No.
What would you call that then?
It's meant to be horror, I guess, but it had a little bit of sci-fi element to it.
You'd call that a horror, really? You wouldn't call that a crime book?
Hack Slash, I would say, is a horror.
Okay.
Yes. What was the other thing I read? I read Edenwood. Or the
Edenwood's awesome. Yeah, that's a sci-fi fantasy.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So I read that, and there was.
What did you think of that?
There were some aspects of it I didn't like. But overall, I guess it was a fun ride.
Yeah, Geiger is another probably dystopian. Wouldn't be sci-fi, but that would be like a dystopian type of book.
See, to me, the dystopian stuff, I mean, you called Walking Dead a dystopian. I would never have thought of that as a dystopian book. But when you say dystopian, it's about a future. To me, it's kind of sci-fi because it's kind of like they're using science to predict where things could go.
Nah.
And what's the other one? So dystopian
and utopian.
Which is...
Yeah, a picturesque future, utopian society. You know, like everyone gets along, everyone's...
Demolition Man.
Yeah, that's right. That would be a utopian... But yeah, and that's the idea of putting a dystopian type character, like a chaos type character, like the villain, in that society where he runs amok in a utopian society. So yeah, Demolition Man. You always go back to that movie, don't you?
It's a great movie.
Yeah,
they did a comic book. Did you know that?
They did?
It was a movie adaptation. I've got the first 3 issues.
Yeah, I've got that as well.
Is there any sci-fi titles you can think of that were a comic book and then got turned to film?
Film or TV?
Either, but started as a comic book sci-fi comic.
Paper Girls?
Is that sci-fi?
Yeah, I would say so. It's sci-fi. It's what would you call Stranger Things? Sci-fi?
Sci-fi horror.
Sci-fi horror.
Is it a sci-fi?
Sci-fi horror, fantasy.
I guess it's a sci-fi. Stranger Things didn't start as a comic.
No, I know that.
Okay.
Paper Girls, Sweet Tooth.
Sweet Tooth's a sci-fi?
I would say so. Dystopian, utopian, sci-fi. Anyone who disagrees, that's fine. You can put it in the comments. What would I know? Typical unprepared, like I didn't have time to think about it or do a bit of research. So off the top of my head, I mean, if you guys can think of any comic book series that were made into a movie or a TV show that is sci-fi, put it down in the comments.
Or any sci-fi titles that we didn't speak about today.
Oh, there's heaps. There's plenty. There's Lazarus is another one by Greg Rucka. You know, with utopian sort of sci-fi, black science I've mentioned, but yeah, there's heaps. There are heaps and heaps. Yeah, just put in your favourite. If you've got a favourite sci-fi series, put it in there.
Put it in the comments and maybe I'll read it one day. And that is all we have for you today. How'd you go, Mark? How'd you go with that topic?
Oh, that was brutal. Because it doesn't tell you shit.
How about this next episode? I won't tell you guys, but I'll give you an idea for next week, which means you have to prepare for it.
Yeah,
I don't have to do anything.
No, well, when you have a subject like this, yeah, give me a little bit of preparation. I see you finished the X-Men series.
I did you?
I did.
And?
Oh, loved it. I thought it was.
What did you think of the end?
Very good. I liked it. I wanted more.
What was the significance of the ending?
In which ending? There was a couple.
How they go to the future, and I think one of the guys is Apocalypse, right?
Yeah, the one where they go in the past. Yeah.
Okay.
I saw that
they
coming.
go to the past and then somewhere.
Well, yeah. Well, did you watch it or didn't I?
I told you I didn't concentrate for the first half of the episode because I'm often on my phone and shit when I'm watching stuff.
So he doesn't read and he doesn't watch. The majority of the group end up in the past and they meet Abba and Sur, right, which is Apocalypse. And then Scott and Jean, they end up in the future and they're going to end up meeting Nathan. But it's weird because
Nathan was a kid, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
But Nathan would have remembered when he was older, like when he was in the present. Wouldn't he have remembered that? Anyway, that's my, I just said, oh, well, he would have remembered that.
Plot hole. Number 1.
But then there was another ending. Did you see the other ending? The post-credit scene?
Oh, there was a post-credit. Whoops. What was it?
It was this guy walking through the rummage of Genosha. They don't show who it is until the end, and then he picks up and it's Apocalypse. So it's going to be all about Apocalypse.
Okay.
And I think it's going to lead to the Age of Apocalypse.
Well, we're going to wrap it up. Make sure, what do they have to do, Mark?
They're going to like.
That's right.
Smash a like button.
That's right.
And subscribe.
And what's the other thing that they could do if they want to show some extra support?
I don't know, what do you call it? What is it?
What?
Subscribe.
No, the other one.
No, what is it? No?
You said it last week. You did a beautiful.
I can't even remember.
Become a Siminion.
Ah, Siminions, that's right.
Extended cuts of Mark talking.
Become a Siminion.
All the crap that I don't
talking.
think is good enough for the general public, you'll get to see.
Yeah.
For a small monthly fee.
Yeah. Small monthly fee, and that's not me being naked, all right?
Mate, the X-Men episode last time, the regular version 17 minutes, the extended cut is 28 minutes or something. You get an extra 11 minutes.
You get a value, mate.
Mark just going bang, bang, bang. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. And until next time, say bye, Mark.
Bye, Mark.
And keep it simple.
Smash a like.